Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded live Saturday, 21 December 2013, episode 89, Chuck Norris is the Force. There we go. Get this working again. Welcome to another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive, and I'm your host, Rob Wade, and unfortunately, ScubaBob is waylaid because of illness. For somebody who exercises as much as he does, it seems like he just has this propensity to come down with walking pneumonia. He had this, seems like last year about this time. Matter of fact, I was joking with him that about this happening again this year. He said, I almost asked you to bring your O2 kit over because, of course, I have an O2 kit for training classes as well as just for general emergency purposes when we're diving. And so when in doubt, go on O2. And when you're having problems breathing, you want to get as much oxygen as you possibly can. So obviously an O2 kit would be a handy thing to have around. So this has been a interesting week. Worked part of it. Of course, everybody is gearing up for the Christmas holiday. And some of you may be on vacation already or leave. Some of you may be starting it this coming week. I had a lot of leave to burn off because I don't go anywhere. And so I build up a lot of vacation time, and you can only hold on to so many hours or so many days of vacation before you have to use it up by the end of the calendar year. Otherwise, you'll lose it. You can only carry so many hours over to the new year. So anything above that threshold, you have to use. So I'm kind of burning it off where I can. Making some adjustments to the screen here, trying to get some focus. I've got to bring it all into focus. There we go. Much better. Or if I can tilt this thing down. Oops, wrong way. There we go. I love that I can do this remotely. I'm using, by the way, for those of you who have not looked at the video on our website or our YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, I have a video tour, if you will, of the studio so you can see what kind of equipment you're using. So if you're curious about getting into this net casting thing yourself, you kind of see what it takes to at least get it at the level that we have it here. There's a lot more equipment you could get, a lot more money you can spend. You could get away really inexpensively. Just a simple, basic webcam, fixed position right on your computer screen and just do it that way. Or you can do audio only, whatever you want to do. We're kind of trying to move in between the layers there. Not quite professional level, but something that looks and sounds in more towards that direction, more towards the professional level. And I've been picking up pointers from other people who do this professionally. So anyway, we're using the Microsoft LifeCam Studio cameras for when you see the shots like this one where it's on me, or if I was switching to Robert, if he were here, you would see this is the same kind of camera. We have two of those. And then for the full shot, we use the LifeCam Cinema, a little bit less expensive, but of course, you get what you pay for. It doesn't have as good a zoom capability as the studios. So I definitely prefer the studio versions over the cinema. As we go along, we'll look to upgrade to even get sharper sharper focus, better saturation control, and some other things, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, taking leave and doing some stuff around the house that I don't normally get a lot of time to do. And we actually we ran into a problem earlier this week that almost caused a waylaying of the podcast. Developed a problem with the electrical system in the studio here, and I wasn't able to turn some of the lights on, and I checked the breaker. You know, you go through the basic stuff, check to make sure switches are on, they're functional, light bulbs are, I swapped out light bulbs, etc. And it just so happens that at the same time we were noticing issues with in our bathrooms with one of the wall plugs not functioning correctly. So it turns out a couple of years ago, or several years ago, I'd spent some time to go through our circuit breaker, and I suggest this is a good idea for those of you who own a home. Go through your circuit breaker, and if your circuit box does not have everything mapped for your house, it's a long, arduous process. You'll be turning things on and off for hours to do this, depending on the size of your house and number of outlets and lights and stuff that you have. But went through the process of mapping every plug, every light, every appliance in the house to our circuit breaker, our circuit box in the back of the house. And then I did a nice Excel spreadsheet that maps it all out. It shows, okay, this circuit controls the following things. And I was very surprised at how this house is laid out. Very interesting choices. Some areas where it's spread out nicely, where you won't load a circuit with one room. And then other rooms that they are all loaded up. Just weird way. Not safe either, but it is what it is. So as it turns out, the circuit that controlled part of the studio also controls an outlet in our kitchen, as well as a couple of outlets in the bedrooms or in the bathrooms. So I end up having to replace the circuit breaker. Well, this house was built in 1979, and unfortunately, the types of, and I'm going way into electrical nuts and bolts for those who don't follow this stuff, and I'm not by any means an expert aficionado, but I know just enough to do some troubleshooting, problem solving. So anyway, as it turns out, the circuit breakers that this house used, or the builders of the house used, are called a now I'm drawing a blank. Something lock. Anyway, it's a single pole type connector that it's easy to remove, easy to put in, but nobody uses these anymore. And to find replacements was ridiculous. And I literally spent a good chunk of the day driving all over Del Rio, visiting various hardware stores, etc., to try and find a replacement 20 amp circuit breaker of this type of breaker. And I finally did at the local True Value store, of all places, and it was with tax a $40 circuit breaker, so very expensive for that. And as it turns out, since I also needed to replace this breaker, I took advantage of the fact that I was going to have the entire circuit down to swap out the receptacles on almost all of these that were tied to it, because as it turns out, the receptacles eventually they wear out. They get to a point where the interior components won't hold your plug correctly, and just about everybody's experienced this, where you plug something in, and if you move the cord the wrong way, it breaks the connection, and you have to like hold it, tape it, or not stress the cable so that or electrical cord, so that you get a good signal or a good power connection. And it's really annoying because you're trying to vacuum a house, for instance, and you move the vacuum and the cord's moving and it jiggles it enough to where it disconnects and you have to go over there and wiggle it. Well, enough of that. So I also replaced all these circuits, which was easy enough to do, but it's tedious and not fun to do, and obviously something you want to do when the circuit is off. And then I also had to replace or repair a light fixture. So this was a big for something that started out a simple thing. I couldn't turn certain lights on. It grew into a much bigger project than I planned, unfortunately. So had I not gotten the electrical issues fixed, I probably would have had to tweet out to everybody and send Facebook messages, etc., to everybody to let them know we couldn't do the podcast tonight because of the electrical issues. But thankfully, got them all up and running, and so far nothing's burning down, which is a good thing. So, and next week we'll be working part of the week, and of course we have Christmas and some days off after that. I'm basically off for almost a week and a half after that. So hopefully I'll be able to actually relax. I never like to take my leave time, my vacation time, and work on stuff through. I'd rather if I'm going to work, I want it to be things that I really enjoy doing, like working on studio stuff, developing software or whatever. Fun stuff, or scuba diving even. Although at this point, I don't think I'm going to find anybody who's got the gear, the cold water gear to go out on a dive. But I really, really do want to execute a dive before the month is out. We'll see what happens. So also new in our little household here is we are fostering a dog. You've heard us talk the last couple of weeks about a pet's wish, and there was somebody who found a little red dachshund out by the airport here. We happen to live just a couple of blocks away from the Del Rio International Airport. It's funny they call it international. Anyway, they found a dog, but unfortunately, of course, had no tags, anything. I hate that. But the couple could not keep the dog because the place that they're staying does not allow them to have pets. So they held on for a couple days. Then they brought it over to Pet's Wish, and then we've volunteered to foster it. This couple has got orders out, and so they're moving away, but they want to take the dog. They want to keep the dog, which I think is great. They're just going to make sure that they are going to get a place that allows pets. So we may only have this little red female dachshund for a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. We actually are interested in a black and tan little female that another friend of ours is currently fostering, but we said we can't foster this dog and adopt another one. 4 dogs is pretty much our maximum. So we're hoping that this fostering process goes through its course quickly so we can adopt this other dog. And so we'll have 4 dachshunds. We'll have Chiana, which you've seen once or twice. She's our wire-haired who is in desperate need of a haircut. And then you've seen Ronan and Greza, who are sitting behind me, pushing me to the very edge of my chair. That's very frustrating. To sit in a nice big chair like this where I'm kicked to the curb, basically. I'm sitting on the edge. Sadness. But they rule the roost, and otherwise what they would be doing is sitting right here beside the chair whining, and you'd hear that over the microphone, and not good over Netcast. So That's the latest in Clan Wade going on. No movie reviews. ScubaBob's not here, so he's not able to share any of the movies that he may have seen with the family or anything, especially if he's sick. He's probably not seen anything. And, of course, there's just really nothing on for the rest of the year that Tara and I are interested in seeing. We're just looking forward to next year, where we have quite a list, or I have quite a list, of movies that I'm interested in seeing. So the title of the episode today, you noticed, was Chuck Norris is the Force, because if you have been living under a rock, you may not have caught a couple of things, a couple of little viral videos. Of course, actor, martial arts expert Jean-Claude VanDamme is famous for his doing the splits in precarious situations to hold him above enemies that he's going to ambush or that he's hiding from. He did a Volvo commercial to illustrate how very, very stable their trucks are, like their big tractor trailer rigs are. And so, I guess I understand this is real, so I'm going to show you the video, and it's impressive. And at his age, that he's still doing this stuff. If I tried to do this, I would be hurt in all sorts of ways. But let me show you what this looks like. It's pretty amazing.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Notice these trucks are driving backwards. Now, I'm sure the lines that you see are being used by the drivers of these trucks so that they are precisely the right distance apart. And I gotta say, that's impressive. Not just the splits, but the trucks that are able to do that. Oh, I'm sure it was carried out in a controlled area. So, all right, that was impressive to see, but not to be outdone. And of course, these two have been now in a what I think was a very fun movie, Expendables 2. Chuck Norris, of whom many jokes about how absolutely impressive and tough and scary he is. Not to be outdone, Chuck Norris decided to create a Christmas video spoofing this, and I think it's hilarious that somebody who he's a good Christian guy, a conservative guy. I just am impressed with him. Love to hear him talk. Love to see him in movies. And it's so neat to see somebody that doesn't take himself too seriously. He even used a joke that is very common about him in the movie The Expendables, which is and Expendables 2. That was hilarious. But Chuck Norris made a spoof video, which I'm going to show you, and it's hilarious.
Some says that ever against that season comes, when our Saviour's birth is celebrated. The bird of dawning singeth all night long, and then they say, no spirit can walk abroad. The nights are wholesome, and no planets strike, no fairy tales, nor witch had power to charm. So hallowed, and so gracious is the time. So I brought you that.
This is hilarious. So these warriors make a Christmas tree.
Very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all.
That is absolutely epic. I think that was wonderfully done. A great, nice little twist. You know, again, obviously spoofing Jean-Claude Van Damme's authentic split, but Chuck Norris is just hilarious. I think it bears sharing some of the classic top jokes about Chuck Norris. Let's see. Chuck Norris doesn't call the wrong number. You answered the wrong number. I love it. Chuck Norris has a grizzly bear carpet in his room. The bear isn't dead. It's just afraid to move. Love it. Love it. If you rate this 5 roundhouse kicks, then Chuck Norris will roundhouse kick Justin Bieber. I love it. What was one of the other ones? Chuck Norris can cut through a hot knife with butter. Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. Chuck Norris is the reason why Waldo is hiding. Death once had a near Chuck Norris experience. That's classic. Chuck Norris can slam a revolving door. And let's see. Where's the one I saw that I thought was great? Chuck Norris made a Happy Meal cry. Oh my gosh. If you spell Chuck Norris in Scrabble, you win forever. I love it. Chuck Norris can speak Braille. Chuck Norris doesn't need Twitter. He's already following you. Chuck Norris was in, and this is what spawned the title for today's episode. Chuck Norris was in all 6 Star Wars movies as the Force, which is why we say Chuck Norris is the Force. Just classic stuff. He's a wonderful man. I've seen his posts, seen his discussions and various interviews, and he's straightforward. He's very, very, he's real. He's very real. And people who have been on stage with him, on set with him, say he is just absolutely the nicest guy, and he would give you the shirt off of everybody's back. He's a nice guy. He's awesome. So in tech news, if you are, of course, I like the Windows Phone, so I follow all the comings and goings there. You may be aware that Microsoft released a developer or a preview of GDR3, which is just the Microsoft update bits, to Windows Phone 8. And so if you were a developer, which is easy to get on the bandwagon, I guess, as a developer. You don't even have to join the developers program, which now only costs you $9.99 annually. But you could use their Windows Phone App Studio to simply create an app, and once you did that, that opened you up to being able to install. You would install a little app. There's a developer preview app. Once you ran that the first time, the only time, it basically set you up to be able to update your phone to GDR3, adding a number of really, really nice and long-awaited features to Windows Phone. Well, course, with that, not everybody is going to do that. In fact, probably most are not going to do that. They're all waiting for the combination update, the GDR3, and if you have a Nokia Lumia phone, what they call the Black update, which is Nokia's pieces of like the firmware for this device specific updates. So you have the operating system and the firmware updates all together. Surprise, surprise, this week, the GDR3 and Nokia Black update official was released for the Lumia 925 and the 1020, which I have, which my wife has. So as soon as we heard that, we updated it, and so love the improvements. Really, really, as if the camera needed any more improvement. It's been improved more. There were people who complained about the oversaturation of images in certain modes. So that is not the case anymore. So for those who felt that was a problem, it's not. I personally like a high definition, high saturation of the photos. Not ridiculous amounts, but I like the color to pop. And you can still make adjustments, but the default modes are now much more natural for those who prefer that. And another really cool feature is that you can now save. You can choose to save with the 1520, with the 925, with the 1020, and these will be coming. Any of the PureView type cameras will eventually get this as well. You can save in the RAW format, aka DNG, a digital negative format, which allows you to do a lot of raw editing of your pictures. Before, you had either you could do the 5 megapixel, or you did the combination 5 and 38. Those would both be JPEG. It would be saved on your phone. It takes two pictures at the same time. It takes a 5 megapixel version and a 38 megapixel version. And so it would save those at the same time to your phone. But they were both JPEG. Just one was a much higher resolution. Well, now you can choose that or the 5 megapixel and the 38 as a RAW format, which for those who do a lot of Adobe Photoshopping, that kind of stuff, being able to edit raw video or digital negatives is an important capability. So I've been kind of playing with that. A number of other features that I really like is the refocus capability, which is awesome. You take a shot, and it basically takes an elongated shot that focuses the entire depth of your video, of your picture, of your subject, and then you can tap on different places on the screen, and it will, right before your eyes, it will alter the focus at that depth. I wonder if I could even show this on the screen. Probably can't, but it would be awesome if I could. My wife has an awesome Christmas village, and so there's some cool little effects or things that you can do with that. Let's see if I can show this. This will be very cool if I can show this. Probably too much glare. Yeah, it's probably not going to show up, but we'll see if we can do this. Let me see if I can refocus the camera. This will be cool if I need to get like what Leo Laporte and the gang there at Twit have. They have like an over camera. It lets them look at what's going on the desktop. You know, I ought to think about how I would make that happen. I would need to add a fourth camera to the mix here. Let me see if I can focus the camera here and put little bit of making of the sausage here. All right, I'm gonna change my photo. There we go. All right, so right now it's kind of hard to see, but you might be able to see. The picture is focused close up on. Basically, I've tapped and I focused on the red ribbon and the wreath. Now I'm going to tap. Now notice that the red ribbon is out of focus, and it changed the focus all the way back to the back. Now I'm going to try and tap on the. There we go. And so now the people in the background are out of focus. So it automatically refocuses the picture on what you tap on. And then there also you can choose to make the entire picture in focus. And so it will look at all the depth of field. Let me refocus it back on me here. There we go. It will focus. It will find all the elements in the picture at different levels, depths, and focus all of it. So you can, and then you can save it. Whatever you want to do, you can actually save the image as that, so you can print it out that way. And I think that's very cool that you could bring everything into focus if you need to. Now, obviously, in order for it to do that, it has to scan focus, and you see a little kind of a wheel timer that it goes around when it's taking the picture. So you need to be still. You want a pretty static shot for it to do this, but it's worth it if you're trying to get a particular, if that's an effect you're going for. So very cool capability. We have not seen the update, this update come out yet for the 920. I still do have a 920 that I keep updated anyway. It's got GDR3, just doesn't have the black update. But we keep that up. I keep that up to date. It's currently my backup phone. If something were to happen to my Lumia 1020, I would back up to the 920. Speaking of that stuff, the Lumias, insane sales going on right now for the Lumia 520 and 521. If you go to the Microsoft store, you can get the Lumia 520, which is it's a very good device. It has certain things that they had to, in order to get the price down, that they did not include. It doesn't have a flash, doesn't have a front-facing camera. It's only got 512 megabytes of ROM to process, but still, the user experience is very good. It's got a great-looking screen. The camera's decent. If you're just wanting to try out a Windows phone, $49. Actually, Microsoft Store, $39. Amazon had a one-day sale going yesterday for $49. Walmart had them for $60, but they're selling out everywhere. It's hard to get them. As a matter of fact, I would say at this point, if you're trying to get one before Christmas, you're not going to be able to do it unless you happen to run into some place that happen to have an extra stock somewhere that nobody's lining up for. But the Walmart here in Del Rio, they had a big end cap full of them, and they blew through those quickly within just a couple of days. It's selling like hotcakes because it's a good phone. It's a good smartphone for that price. And if you've already got a phone, regardless of the platform, why not, at that price, why not get a backup phone? Just a simple one. Paul Thurrott, who I follow regularly, he is part of the Windows Weekly Netcast on Twit, and also the What the Tech podcast with Andrew Zarian. He knows a lot of inside info type stuff, but he just talks up the 520 a lot. And he even mentions that even if you don't use it as a smartphone, you could use it as your GPS in your car, just keep it in your car rather than use your daily use one, your daily rider, whatever. Instead of using that, use the 520 as an inexpensive GPS rather than go and buy a Garmin, and or as your music player or your video player. Use it as your consumption device rather than suck up the battery on your primary communications device, which is, I think, a brilliant idea. It's a great backup device for that. And if you're just getting into the smartphone arena, it's certainly an inexpensive way to get into smartphones without getting, spending a lot of cash, or tying yourself specifically to a contract, because the 520 is actually, it can be used obviously on a contract. Just stick the SIM in there, but it's a Go phone basically, which means you can just pay as you go. Use load time on it, and so you're not tied down. It's basically unlocked, but just well worth the price if you're just getting in the market and you're not sure what you want to gravitate to. If you're a lemming and you want to get an iPhone, fine. If you're a lemming and want to get a Android phone, fine. But if you're not sure, this is about as cheap a way you can just say, let me try a platform and see if I like it, because the user experience is consistent with it, even from as low end as that would be considered as a device. So, by the way, the GDR3 update is also rolling for the Samsung Ativ S and the HTC 8X. So if you have those devices, you should be seeing the GDR3 update for your devices coming out. So, on to scuba news. I was checking out the latest copy of Sport Diver. We subscribe to Sport Diver and Scuba Diving Magazine. Both of those magazines are awesome. You should subscribe to them if you're a diver or if you're just interested in diving. Great magazines to follow. Lots of great information, education, great photography. You see a lot of great photo spreads, and they both have a very good, very fine web component that you can check out as well. They have some of their Scuba Lab videos that you can check out. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can bring up Sport Diver. Here we go. Switch to screen region. There we go. Really nice website. Some great photography bits. A lot of stories. Here's one of their little Scuba Lab videos. Let me show that. Scuba Pro Everflex wetsuit.
Scuba Pro's Everflex 5.4 wetsuit uses high-stretch material and smart features to balance flexibility with warmth. Thicker 5mm neoprene is employed in the torso to keep the core warm and is excellent for moderate to cool waters. Thinner 4mm material allows easier movement in the arms and legs, which are also pre-shaped for a natural fit. Ankle zippers make the suit faster to don. The main rear zipper includes a thick neoprene seal, which keeps out water and serves as a cushion against heavy gear. Smooth seals at the neck and all four cuffs prevent heat loss through water exchange. And new panels inside the chest trap water for better heat retention. The bottom line? The Everflex 5.4 wetsuit is well suited to a wide range of temperatures and combines a flexible, contoured fit with maximum warmth.
Very nice, very nice. Great magazine, great website. And I see there's an update on the Sea Life DC 1400. Now they have the Sea Dragon Pro Duo. We have the original Sea Life DC 1400 Pro Duo Love the camera. You've already seen some of the video and pictures that we've shot with it. It's just a fantastic camera. But, oh, I have new email. One of the new features of added to the GDR3 and Black update is custom. You can set custom messages, custom ringtones, I guess. They still call it ringtones for different things going on. And so I've actually created a number of them specifically for Facebook messages, email coming in, notifications from my individual. If somebody, you can attach it to a specific person. So if I get a new text message from Troy McGonigal, it actually tells me that it's you have a new incoming text from Troy. You know, so nice little feature, allows you to customize it quite a bit. So anyway, looking at the latest Sport Diver magazine, I noticed something that was pretty cool. I am not. Oh, here comes our little foster dog. Hold that thought. You get to I'll introduce you to our foster. This is the people who found her have called her Alex. Let me switch to the. Here we go. Say hi to everybody. Kind of looks like Graza, doesn't she? As you can see, yes. As you can see, she got beat up pretty good. Looks like those look like cat claw scabs, because those can be pretty sharp. But yeah, I get kind of militant at people who do not properly tag their dogs. Even if you can't afford to microchip them, just put a decent collar on them with the latest rabies tag on them. That way, when somebody finds the dog, we can call the vet and find out who owns the dog. And I just think it's neglectful. It's just plain evil to not take care of an animal. They're domesticated. Means our responsibility. So you do not want to be on the bad side of me if you do not properly house your dog, keep them comfortable, fed and watered, and protected. If you don't do that, you do not want to know me, because I will seriously do a number on you. I will publicly humiliate you. So anyway, I am not a tree hugger. I'm not an environmentalist wacko. I'm not one of those green people. I just don't believe in that. I happen to be one of those people that I believe, yes, we're supposed to be good stewards, and that, yeah, you're staring at me, aren't you? We're supposed to be good stewards of this planet. We've been put in dominion over it. That's all in Scripture. And so we shouldn't just treat it willy-nilly, but I also believe that we are the highest form of life. We have been put in dominion, which means that we're not supposed to be putting ourselves subject to everything else. The planet does not have a soul, does not have a spirit. There's no Gaia. That's garbage. That's idolizing creation instead of idolizing the creator. What are you doing? Sniffing at my keyboard, my laptop. And I happen to believe that God's probably smart enough to figure out how much resources, etc., this planet needs to supply us before the whole thing is tossed and starts over. Okay? The whole new heaven, new earth thing. So I do not live in fear that we're going to run out of resources. I think we're going to have exactly the amount of resources necessary till it's all check, please. So anyway, but in the interest of being a good steward, I do notice things that are kind of good ideas that solve multiple purposes. And so one of the things is, we use neoprene when we're diving. And so what happens when you have a wetsuit that outlives its usefulness. Either something as simple as the color is faded so badly you just want a new wetsuit and you're just never going to wear this one again, to you've got enough tears, rips, worn areas in it, the seams have come apart, and you've used the wetsuit glue all you can, and you can no longer use it and you have to toss it. Or the zipper has disintegrated, which that's happened on mine. What do? Well, typically people just throw it away. But there are companies out there that will recycle, or what they call upcycle, your neoprene. So interestingly, they had a list of some places in the latest Sport Diver magazine. The first one that they mentioned was lavarubber.com. Lavarubber.com. They'll take your old wetsuits and melt them into doormats, boats, and dog dishes. I'm like, a dog dish? I guess that would be like the collapsible kind that you could take on road trips or something. Or maybe it's the bottom to keep them from sliding. Because sometimes dogs, when they're eating, if they have a voracious appetite, they'll be eating, and the dog bowl scoots across the floor, especially if you have tile. So neoprene on the bottom would help that. Another company they mentioned was greengurugear.com. They'll upcycle everything. They'll upcycle bike tires, climbing ropes, and wetsuits into laptop cases. As a matter of fact, let me show you the laptop case that I use for my device here. Just excuse me a momento. These dogs just don't give me any room to sit. I'm literally sitting right on the edge. So anyway, for the laptop you see here, let me switch to the other camera. I have a bona fide HP, but it's very simple, fits it's nice and snugly, but it's neoprene. So a company like this taking your old neoprene wetsuits and turning it into a nice laptop case. It's an awesome idea. And so it reclaims the material. Another company, resurfproject.com, takes donated wetsuits and surfboards. That's interesting. Patches them up and then redistributes them to disadvantaged youth globally. Now and they teach them they'll take them basically through their first lesson on how to surf. So that's pretty cool. So if you got a board that you're discarding, needs work, or let's say you're again like wetsuits, you decide, I don't like that board anymore, I want a new board. They'll take it, they'll recondition it, they'll take your wetsuits, they'll patch them up, and then they'll take them to disadvantaged youth all over the world. That's pretty cool. And the last one, neocombine.com, is a French company that takes old wetsuits and makes screen-printed bracelets from them. Let me see if we can call them up on the web. Neocombine.com. Recycling wetsuits. Let me switch screen region. There we go. Neocombine. Recycling wetsuits since 2009. Let's look at the site in English. My French is non-existent. All right. Turning rubbish into treasure is our action. I love it. So let's see what their cool stuff is. See, here's like bracelets. Let's see what's in the shop. Okay, cool. So they screen print, silk screen, whatever you call it, the old material. And so you get these nice little bracelets. pretty cool. Born to surf. I'd want, obviously, one that says born to dive. Okay, they need to get off the surf one. They need to put some dive ones. Some stuff in French. So, oh, that's cool. Space Invaders. So, a number of different things you can do with it. So, that's kind of cool. So, if you're looking for a nice little inexpensive Christmas gift, it's probably too late now if this is a French company. Inexpensive Christmas gift. This is kind of a neat thing to get for somebody. I wonder if they can do custom. Now, that would be pretty cool. If you could get a custom one done. Oh, these got pictures of people wearing their product. Very cool. I guess some of them come with a Velcro. Because obviously neoprene stretches, so you could just put it on your wrist or your ankle or whatever. That would be cool. That would be cool. So that's neocombine.com. So one of the things that we were going to do this week, and I'm going to go ahead and do my part. We're already 9 o'clock, but we got a little late start, is top 5 smartphone apps. I asked Robert to come up with his top 5 that he likes on the iPhone. And, of course, he's not here, so he can't share it. But I'm going to go ahead and share mine. There are just tons of really good apps that I like. Because I have the Lumia, one of the Lumia devices. Nokia, hands down, is the best supporter of their devices compared to any platform, any device. Samsung can't even touch. Apple can't touch the kind of support that Nokia provides for their devices. They're always updating, adding features, just expanding the value of the device. Apple and Samsung, they don't enhance the value. They simply they make they make certain products very well, and then they fix the problems that show up. So in that respect, at least Apple is very good about supporting their product. But as far as adding value to their product, they just don't. They simply don't. They have to rely on third parties to create all sorts of little toys to connect to them. That enhances the value. But Nokia is just an amazing support for their equipment. So, and it was very tough to come up with my top 5 list because there's so many that could tie for each of these slots. But I kind of lumped this first one, it's number 5 on my list, because it's more of a suite. Even though they're individual apps, they all work together. If Nokia were to actually embrace the hub concept that Microsoft's introduced in their Windows Phone operating system, they could call it the Here Hub. But they have a suite of apps called Nokia Here. And so that includes such things as Drive Plus, Maps, City Lens, and a number of other things. I'll just show you one here. Is the Here Drive Plus, and it is the best navigator out there, hands down. We used it on our trip to when we went to Grand Cayman. We rented a vehicle for the week we were there, and everybody else had iPhones. I had the only Windows Phone, but mine was the one we used for navigation. And it was entertaining, too, because you can choose different voices to go with it. And so I personally favor the British accent one. But for a while, we tried the Surfer Dude. That one was hilarious. But it got annoying, so we had to go back to the British girl. She was much less annoying. But you see how just some screenshots of different aspects of it. You can set up your commutes, and so it will let you know if there are potential problems with your commute. And based on current traffic, tells you about how long it'll take to get there. The voice turn-by-turn navigation is awesome. Both visual and audio. And the live tile usage is very, very good. You can pin, excuse me, you can pin certain aspects of your, in this case here, Drive Plus, to your start screen. So here it's pinned, they've pinned the commute portion. So you can see your visual layout right there. It's a live tile. So it feeds you pertinent information as you go without actually having to open the app to do it. I love that feature. That's what I love about live tiles. We'll also tell you if you're. It'll also tell you if you're speeding. You can turn that feature off. But what's interesting is it knows where what your speed limits are as you're going along, even in town. And if you have the feature turned on, it will go ding 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 if you're exceeding the speed limit, which is pretty cool. Next up on my list. Next on number 4 on my list is Pocket Bible by Luridian. Let me bring that up. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. I used Luridian's Pocket Bible way back in the day when I had a Pocket PC, which then became Windows Mobile. This is back when it was just a PDA. It was the competitor to the old Palm series, Palm Pilots, Palm, whatever they were. And they had since, of course, obviously, they have a Windows version, or they had a Windows standard desktop version, and they eventually created one for Android and iOS, but they hadn't created a version for Windows Phone until earlier this year. And I was fortunate enough to be selected to be included on the beta test. Now, not only was I selected to be on the beta test for the Windows Phone version, but also for the Windows 8 Metro version, and they're both very, very excellent. You can do multiple translations on the screen. The Windows 8 Metro version allows you more than just the 2. Very easy to find books and chapters and scriptures in the Navigator because they're color coded. I love this. They're color coded by the Apocrypha, the Torah, the greater prophets, the lesser prophets, the Gospels, the Acts, then the various letters by Paul, and then the other letters by the other disciples, and then of course the Revelations. It's broken down very, very nicely, so it's very easy to zoom in on where you need to navigate to. Very easy to search for particular words in scriptures or passages. Highlighting, a bunch of colors that you can highlight. You can add your own notes, kind of like you would in a regular Bible. You can just write on the side, or you could just add notes to it. And you can search through those. And you can do a lot of in-app purchases. So there are some translations. There are a lot of translations, as well as various other daily devotional books, dictionaries, concordances, maps, daily readers, etc., that you can purchase as well, and open those within this program. So this is Pocket Bible is more than just a Bible. It's a reading program that you can pull together a number of different books and translations, copy passages from one place to another, follow what you've been doing. And the Windows 8 version is cool because they've created a situation where all of this syncs. So wherever you were reading on, let's say, and this is where my nirvana is, if I started reading a passage on my Windows phone, I can pick up where I left off on the Windows 8 version. The selection of translations that they have available at Laridian, you can just go to laridian.com, Laridian. You can go check them out. They've got so many translations. Some of them are free, some of them cost you. The app itself is free, but if you want to use some of the enhanced features, there's an in-app purchase for it, but it's well worth it. The developer spent a lot of time and is not making much at all off of this, but well worth it to compensate him for his fine work. One of my favorite translations, the Complete Jewish Bible. And so it goes back to the original Hebrew and Greek and brings all the concepts forward in the context that they really were designed because of, that we're talking about the Israelites, the Jewish people. This all started because of them. So what was understood, what was part of the culture then, is important to embrace when you're reading Scripture. I think it enhances the reading quite a bit. So I love that translation. And I cannot find that translation in any other Bible reading app. None. Okay, number 3 on my list is Gleek. And there it is. A very awesome Twitter app. I love the way it's laid out. A lot of flexibility in how you can customize it. Pushes you a lot of information up front without you having to dig for it, but you can drill down really well into it. Easily look at profiles, easily follow people, easily retweet or quote tweet. It's speech integrated, so you can actually just, from the start button, you can tell Gleek to send out a tweet. So completely hands off. Love that feature. You can see what's been going on with your account, how many people, have people been retweeting you, etc. Great options. It's an awesome app. One of the problems that we're having right now, and this is what angers me, is I used to, on the smartphone, on the Windows phone, I used to use Rowie, and they've basically shut their doors on that because they've reached the token limit. Twitter has decided to screw over all third-party developers. And so they've placed limits on the number of tokens that they can. So if you join, even though you have a Twitter account, if you, let's say, use Rowie, if you're the, however number, 1 millionth caller, if you're the 1 millionth person signing up, that's it. Nobody else can sign up. So they can't expand the use of their app beyond whatever number they got the tokens for. And this is all because of Twitter. This is all how Twitter has set it up. I have a huge problem with this because I'm a big supporter of third-party apps. I know a lot of people whine, and this is my rant. A lot of people whine about, oh, well, we need an official Instagram app. We need an official Vine app. We don't want... You know what? I don't care if we get official ones. If we get really good third-party ones. I'm a huge fan of supporting the third-party developers. Because here's my experience has been, the third-party apps are almost always better. Almost always better than the official apps. Twitter is a classic example. I hate the official Twitter app on Windows Phone. It's horrible. They've done a lot of improvements lately, but it's still horrible. Rowie was much better. Gleek is much better. And eventually they're going to hit their limit as well. And they won't be able to accept any new people. If Twitter would work with these developers to make their app better, then maybe we'd be talking turkey. But unfortunately, Twitter makes crap. And most official apps are crap. I'll be honest with you. Most official apps are crap. Classic example. Instagram refused forever to do something with Windows Phone. So Rudy Hune has done an awesome job of creating his own third-party app. And finally, Instagram, after being prodded and courted a lot by Nokia, Instagram finally came out with their own app. And it is so weak and underpowered compared to Rudy's six tag. His app is just so much better. It's much better looking. It's faster. It has all the features, whereas the Instagram app on Windows Phone is missing so many features. Same with Vine. Vine finally came out with their own, but it pales in comparison to Rudy's Six Snap. No, Six Snap is the Instagram clone. Six Sec is the Vine one. And Rudy's, again, is a much better app. Rudy's got a Snapchat, because Snapchat isn't doing anything. But Rudy's got Six Snap, which is his approach to that. And I defy you to find something nearly as nice looking and well featured on iOS or Android. You're not going to find it. Rudy has done a great job. There are so many great third-party developers out there that are filling in the gap, and that official apps typically suck. Okay, so I support them, and so it frustrates me when a company like Twitter refuses to do right by their customers and actually develop decent apps, but they'll screw over the really good third-party apps. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. So Gleek is my favorite Twitter app, especially now that Rowie is no longer available. Let's see, number 2 on my list. I hate Google. All right, I'll be straight up forward. I hate Google. They are unfortunately, some of the features, some of the associated sites that they have are a necessary evil, I guess. And YouTube is one of those, because really there's just nobody that comes close as far as reachability of customers or viewers as YouTube. And so we have an account with them, obviously. And if you follow the netcast, you can see it after the live production up on YouTube. And nobody is in the chat still. Okay. But there's been a fight going on back and forth between Microsoft and Google over the YouTube app. Early on, all they had was a kind of a website wrapper that basically kind of translated the Flash video, because Windows Phone, like iOS, does not support Flash, nor should it ever. I hate Flash. I hate Adobe. But the official YouTube app that they had was basically a wrapper. Well, then, eventually, when Windows Phone 8 came along, Microsoft actually kind of spun off on their own and created an actual native YouTube app, not just a wrapper that just accesses the website. But it had some features that angered Google, no ads, downloading of the video, etc. So they basically sent them a cease and desist. Well, so Microsoft pulled it, and then eventually they kind of went back to basically a wrapper. So it's useless, and Google just being a bunch of dips about it, a bunch of idiots about it. They will do evil at every turn. That's why you will get scroogled. That's why they will sell everything about you to make money. They're not honest. They're not straightforward. They're just evil company. But again, being able to access YouTube videos is a kind of a necessary evil. So I use an app called SuperTube. And it is, I love the features of this app. You see, it's got kind of, as you go into it, it holds on to the tile meme, the tile concept. Very well organized. You can see what's top rated. You can queue things up to be watched later. And you can choose to view in low quality, high quality, or HD. And you can like and or dislike a video, and you can download. So you can download videos. I typically will download ones that I've already uploaded, because sometimes I'm living here on the border of Texas and Mexico. Sometimes our data connection is not fast enough. We've just got regular 4G. So being able to watch something that's saved on my smartphone sometimes makes more sense. But you can download videos and watch them later. Makes it very convenient. You can see what's hot. And you can see all the things that you've downloaded. You can delete them. Basically, a very good file management built in. Really cool. And you can do, it's easy to search for stuff. There'll be a lot of times that that we might be doing, working on a song on our praise and worship team, and I need to call up the video of something, because sometimes, let's say you're working on music and you see a live performance of the artist doing the song, and you need to see what they were actually doing. This is very helpful for drummers, as a matter of fact. It's really cool to be able to just go search for that video, call it up, and say, oh, this is what they were doing right there. Very cool. Very good app. Highly recommend it. Some people like this, or they like MetroTube. I'm partial to SuperTube. Worthwhile app. Let's see what else is on my hit parade. Number one is, without a doubt, bring it up here. Here we go. Nokia camera. This has been frequently updated. Again, adding value to the device. The camera, this works well even with your Lumia 920 camera, which is sort of the son of PureView. And this is the photographer's app right here, because you can go into simple mode, as you can see here on the screen. You can simply flip through different basic all-encompassing modes, or you can get into full detail. And so you can adjust. You can set the flash type, you can set the white balance, set the focus, the ISO, the aperture, and exposure. And you can see they're all, you can even flip them all out at one time, just simply by flicking your thumb by the camera and flicking it across the screen. It brings all of these out at once, so you can adjust all of these factors on the fly and then take your picture. So it's like doing this on a digital SLR. You can use grids to make sure you work with the rule of thirds and all of that. If you're trying to meter your picture. You can also do, I love this feature. I don't get a chance to use it very often because it requires a specific, what's the word I'm looking for? Subject environment. In this case, by using this particular feature of the Nokia camera, taking a fixed shot of a wall and then letting somebody come in and out of frame, it takes multiple pictures and then allows you to layer them all together, so you see the morphosis of the subject moving in and out of the frame. You see the different movements, and it catches them very quickly. And then you can save that image. This would be good for gymnastics. I'd love to see some stuff done with gymnastics. That would really be cool. I will bet the next Olympics, we see a number of these pictures going on. I'll be surprised if we don't, because this kind of feature is perfect for that kind of thing. But this is hands down my favorite app, because I have really gotten into smartphone photography and underwater photography, so I'm starting to really appreciate and learn a lot of things, and it makes it easy. There's a built-in tutorial to the app that you can bring up at any point that actually shows you how to use all this stuff. It's very cool. Very cool. So those are my top 5 apps. I have a number of runners up. Refocus, Nokia's Refocus is awesome. A number of other apps, and of course the Xbox games features. I wanted to stick to just, if you will, third-party apps, not the native apps with Microsoft Windows Phone. We might look at maybe next week focusing on just the native features, what we like best about the devices. But these are the ones that you would basically install separately. And so, again, my top 5 are: number 5, Nokia Here Suite, and that's the Drive Plus, Maps, City Lens, etc. Number 4, Pocket Bible by Leridian. Number 3, Gleek, my Twitter app. Number 2 is SuperTube for watching YouTube and downloading YouTube videos. And then my number 1 is the Nokia Camera app. All available at windowsphone.com. Check that out. Well, again, we're running. Oh, it's so funny. I can do this for so long. We're already an hour and almost an hour and a half. But it's perfect running up to 9:30 because I've just got my little plug for A Pet's Wish. We volunteer with them. Matter of fact, Monday evening we'll be volunteering with them. And we ended up volunteering the day we picked up our foster dog because nobody was on schedule to help them out. And they do need a lot of help. A Pet's Wish is a great place here in Del Rio that takes up stray or dumped dogs and cats. Now, I'm not encouraging you to just dump your animals there, but they try to find them homes. They try to fix them up. They've got a great relationship with the local vets here. And they have a very good program for adopting out and fostering animals. And we had an adoption event a week ago that did find homes for quite a few, and it cleaned out a lot of the cages, and then suddenly here came all these others, and so they're over full again. But please encourage, if you live in the Del Rio area, to please volunteer. The more people that can be available to help out in the mornings and the evenings, just do the care and feeding and the cleaning out of the runs and the kennels. The more people that are available to help, the less time you have to do it, and the easier it is. And you build a great camaraderie with some great people who have a good heart for these poor animals. And woe to the human being that I run across that is mistreating or abandoning these animals. You do not want to meet me. So please check them out. A Pet's Wish in Del Rio, Texas. A friend of ours, who we actually haven't conversed very much with in quite some time, but Tara and I were on tour with the Air Force Tops in Blue, which is their performing showcase, and they just keep getting better and better every year. They get really cool equipment. We were back in the day when you had one cordless mic. Everything else was wired microphones. But the guitarist for our tour, Michael Atwood, very good guitarist, he posted on his YouTube page a video. I didn't realize anybody had a video of it. When you're on tour, you do a fixed set or multiple sets of different styles of music throughout the show, but it stays the same throughout the year, except for Christmas time. Christmas time, you kind of take a short hiatus where you add in your Christmas songs to be done, in the December time frame. Well, Tara and I have a couple of different videos from our tour, because each of the performances all over the world are videotaped. The best one is picked to be given to all the cast members as a memento of their show. And if you're fortunate, of course, this is back in the 80s, 86 to be exact, 86, 87. If you're fortunate, somebody else also videotaped the show. And so we actually have two videotapes. One, I forget, I think it was Greenham Common. And then somebody videotaped our Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, which is no longer there. It got swallowed up by the volcano. Our Philippines show. We have videotapes of that. But we didn't have anything of the Christmas show. Of course, these days, it's so easy with smartphones and video cameras being so inexpensive to have video recordings of all the various Tops and Blue performance. So something from our tour is pretty rare. But he actually had video of, and I'm just going to show a little bit of it, a video from our Christmas routines that were added to the show. And so this was 1986. I believe this was in Japan. Yeah, Yokota Air Base. Yokota Air Base, Japan. The Far East Network. Let me bring this up. And this is just priceless. From left to right, you'll see Linda Harris, phenomenal performer. And then you'll see my wife, Tara, though she wasn't my wife at the time. And then I'm next to her. And then Christy Penn. There I am to the left of Christy Penn. Just a 20-something. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Wade. With my little Hitler mustache. Scott Hesser. And then I think Tara was next. Loved the ladies' dresses for that tour. And of course, breaking it down to a Latin disco beat. There's Tara on the right. me again. My little Hitler mustache. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of way back, way back to the 1986, Christmas of 1986, in Yokota Air Base, Japan. And so, even though I know Robert's still trying to recover from whatever this is, this walking pneumonia he's got, I know he would be right here with me saying, wishing you all, as Tara and I both do, wishing you all a very, very Merry Christmas. And we will see you next week for our final show of 2013. We'll be looking forward to our first show of 2014, where we talk about our movies we're looking forward to for the new year. But so we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the folks here at Two Guys Who Dive. Have a great Christmas, and remember the reason for the season. And that's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. See ya.